Have you ever felt like there's a unique spark within you just waiting to shine? You're not alone. At the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe that everyone has the potential to transform their lives with practical spirituality. Picture this: a supportive community where everyone is striving for a deeper spiritual connection. Imagine workshops that inspire, classes that enlighten, and a welcoming community that affirms who you truly are. We like to think of ourselves as your spiritual gym. Just like physical wellness requires practice and dedication, so does spiritual wellness. Our empowering principles are designed for daily use, helping you make meaningful changes in your life. It's all about changing your mind to change your life. Sounds simple, right? Whether you're looking to unlock your potential, find clarity, or simply connect with like-minded individuals, the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont is the place to be. We're open and affirming to all because we believe that everyone deserves a chance to shine. So, are you ready to step into a more empowered version of yourself? Join us at the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont.
No, I will do the invocation. We're on?
You're on.
Hey, welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. Welcome to those online and in person. First-time guests, welcome. Please pick up a blue welcome packet in the back. After service, we have a fellowship and meal in Carter Hall. Please consider staying after service. And please take a moment to make sure your cell phone is silent. So, together, we are going to read our vision statement.
It's up here, it's just not behind.
It's not there. All righty, so together let's say, CSLB is an inclusive and transformative community of spiritual practice. With that, let's introduce Al Yankee with our opening song. Welcome, Al.
Good morning, everybody. You know, I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time. You think so? You too? I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. You can do that with me. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Just repeats. My soul is welcome here. My soul is... Turn to somebody and say, your soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome. Somebody else. Your soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. Getting a message loud and clear. Getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Everybody's soul is welcome here today. And a beautiful good morning.
Thank you, Al. So now, turn to your neighbors and say, howdy, neighbor. All righty. We have a lot of announcements today, so I'm going to ask Reverend Dr. Michael to come on up and share the announcements with you.
All right, well, so welcome here, everyone. Welcome. We have some newcomers and some old timers, and we're going to go with the Good Grief group. It continues at 1 o'clock on Thursdays, 1 to 2:30, every Thursday here at the center, right here in the sanctuary. The Joel Goldsmith book discussion is on hiatus until the new year, and with the help of the Morongo Band of Mission Indians, CSLB is able to support 14 families who are adopting turkeys. We have 2 turkeys left to be adopted. So if you know somebody who would like a complete turkey dinner for the holidays, we have 2 turkey dinners yet to be adopted. Our flower ministry, which is headed up by Rev Bev, these beautiful flowers, I believe, are for Lois. Is that correct? Lois contributed these today in honor of your birthday. And I was talking with Lois, and she said she set this intention of beautiful roses, and they're here. So Rev Bev, we want to thank you for honoring that intention. Since my talk is about the power of our intention, we needed pink roses. They showed up. Everything's good. Everything's good. Metaphysical Movie Night is back. We skip a month. We just had Hidden Figures this month. We had a great discussion after the movie. It'll return in January. We're doing that every other month. CSLB, we're hosting Thanksgiving dinner here on Thanksgiving Day. It'll be from 2 to 4. The center's providing the complete dinner, sides, everything. If you'd like to bring a pie or dessert or something, you're welcome to contribute. But a complete Thanksgiving dinner here, so come join us. Come join your spiritual family. And sign up for the Fellowship Food Challenge. It's back information on the information station back there. If you sign up to bring an entree for our Sunday Food for Fellowship, the center will reimburse your costs for the main entree up to $50 according to the receipts you submit. So they will reimburse you for the cost of a main entree if you choose, and we appreciate that. And then join us in Carter Hall after service for fellowship and a meal. And at this point, I would like to call up Ross. And he's going to do a talk on why he tithes.
Good morning.
Morning.
A tenth part of something as a voluntary contribution for the support of a religious establishment or organization. So says Webster. I was introduced to Science of Mind with Dr. Peggy Bassett in Huntington Beach in the mid-1980s. I made an immediate connection and embraced the philosophy and teaching of Science of Mind. I was unsure of myself at this time and found comfort and support with this dynamic, engaged community. I had found my spiritual home. I immediately started classes, Science of Mind 1, Science of Mind 2. I was newly single and raising 2 small children. Financially, I was stretched pretty thin. It was a real stretch, but my final class project was to start my own landscape design business as a sole proprietor. It did not take long for the principle of tithing to be introduced to me. It seemed impossible to me at the time. I defined tithing as just an additional bill to pay each month from what little was left over. I started as best I could, falling short of the 10% each month. As my faith and trust in Science of Mind principles increased, so did my willingness to tithe appropriately. I hopped around, played a few games with my finances. I started by contributing 10% of my net income, which was easier for me to swallow. Over time, I adjusted my thinking and willingly contributed 10% of my limited salary. I justified it in my mind that I was a contributing member of the community and that my funds made a difference and still do. It brings me joy in knowing that my dollars enrich the centers where I have attended now and for many years. It has become a true gift for myself. I rarely worry about money or finances anymore. I live a simple life and know that all of my needs are being met. As a special side note, I'd like to thank Lois for reminding me to tithe on unexpected income, something I had conveniently forgotten. I encourage you to complete and fill out the 2025 pledge form and share in this experience with me. Thank you.
And Dorothy, if you want to come up, and Dorothy is our treasurer and overseer of our finances and works with the board, and she'll talk a little bit about our finances and where they are, what they look like, so you get a little more transparency on our financial picture.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to all. And we're all in our places with sunshine and faces. Oh, this is a way to start a new day. It is so good to be here, and I am so happy that it's that time of year again for our annual pledge campaign. So I'm not going to take too much time, but I did want to answer a question. Where does your money and my money go? So what you see before you is a pie chart, and it gives you a general overview of where the dollars go. And this chart is current as of October 31st this year. And this is what we have managed to do for our center and for you this year so far. So let's just take a look. I'm not going to go into detail, but what I want you to know is, and I stress this over and over again, you can always go into our office, the administration office, and get with Marcia, and she is more than willing to give you a copy of the financials to review there in the office. And she can help you go through it. We get our monthly financials that come from our bookkeeper every month. And it's totally broken down into all the various accounts and categories that tracks every dollar that comes in and goes out of our center, okay? So let's take a quick look at the pie chart that we have before you. As you can see, the preponderance of the expenses is staff, our staff expenses, 44%. And so far this year, that's been around $60,000 that we've spent on staffing. So you ask, well, who's our staff? That's our senior minister, Reverend Michael. That's Reverend Neil, who's our media manager. It's our tech support team, Adrian and Chuck, and of course our administrator, Marcia. And then we have the next category, which is facility expenses. Well, we know the basic is utilities, but then there's yard maintenance, there's janitorial, there is the upgrades, the improvements that we've done around here, like the entire building. We painted the interior of our building this year. We laid new flooring in Carter Hall, in the bathrooms, in the hallway this year. So that just gives you an indication, and that amount of money was a little over $36,000 so far this year. And then the next category is administrative expenses. I mean, administrative expenses is all of the work and the supplies that's needed for this center to run efficiently each and every day, okay? And of course is the community outreach and tithing. We are a tithing center in that we share, we give, and home office, we tithe to home office. And so far this year, and as far as community outreach and tithing to home office, that's a little over $9,000 so far this year. And then, of course, we have our Sunday music and guest speakers. We bring in our guest musicians. We bring in guest speakers. That's a little over $3,000. Membership expenses, event and education expenses, you total those, we're at about $14,000. So far this year in expenses, we've spent a little over $135,000. So it is important that we all continue to support our center in a financial way. And we start where we are. And I know we all think of tithing as being 10% of our income, and it is, but we start where we are. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And please, if you haven't filled out your pledge forms, please do so today, okay? Our pledge campaign formally ends the end of this month, but know that we're always open for pledges, okay? Thank you.
Just to follow up a little with Dorothy, our goal is 45 pledges, and I think we're at 10. We'll be at 11 momentarily. I haven't filled out my paperwork yet.
done mine yet.
So if I fill out my paperwork, I know that's going to open up other people
Yeah.
filling out there. So our goal is 45. We're at 11 momentarily.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I got a larger basket because people are filling out their slips. And I'm happy about, oh, I have to go over here, sorry. Good day. I'm Betty Ann, and I am a member of our membership team committee. And of course, your attitude with gratitude slips go in here. I got a bigger basket because the other one was being filled out. And I'm going to ask somebody else to pick it.
There we go.
Okay, now this week I only have one, and I'm happy to give a gift card to Miss Marcia. Where are you? She's in the office as usual. She said she's thankful for the freedom to think, feel, and pursue what I choose. She also says that the presence and the love of any family and friends. She wrote this in cursive, and you know I have to adjust my eyes. She's grateful for good health, mentally and physically, to continue the flow of love, success, and to be dancing into my life and the joy from my creativity. This is Miss Marcia, and we thank her too. And she gets a gift card. Now the basket will still be here. Next week I'll pull another one. So get those filled out. Got a lot of writing to do this week. Thank you.
Wow, that was fantastic. Having folks come up and talk about the tithing and the importance, and then the transparency in where the funds are going. That's wonderful. So we were at 11, Dr. Michael makes 12, and I'll make 13. All righty? All righty, I am Tommy Jones, and I am one of your licensed spiritual practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. The other practitioners and I will be available after service for a moment of prayer on this side of the sanctuary. Please do not leave here this morning with anything in or on your heart. We would love to pray for you and with you because we absolutely know prayer works. So let's close our eyes and let this meditative song bring us to our center.
I have to put a disclaimer on this, is that I knew absolutely nothing about the tithing talk and all that. This is the song I chose several days ago. As I give, so will I receive. As I think, so will I believe. things can seem so difficult and heavy on my mind. In that divine discontent, dig down deep and find from within and to the stars above. As I love, so will I be loved. Glow in the perfection, feel the sweet connection, and grow in the perfection. Oh, that sweet connection. From within and to the stars above, as I love, so will I be loved.
So now it is my privilege to give the power talk. Now I had come up with what I wanted to talk about, and now on the fly, I get to see if I can spin it a little differently with this emerging theme of tithing, prosperity, and abundance. So today my talk is about buried alive. Some of us may be feeling like we're buried alive in our to-dos and our responsibilities and our commitments, even our financial obligations. So what I would like you to do, though, is think about a seed. Seeds are technically buried alive, yet we don't call them being buried alive. We call them being planted. So I want you to think of whatever circumstances you are in right now, you are planted. Or your seed, the seed in your soul is planted. So what happens to a seed? We hear that whole thing about you plant a seed and it knows what it's going to become and it becomes the oak tree. But what we don't always talk about is what happens in between. You plant, you got the oak tree. Well, there's a couple things that happen on its journey to becoming an oak tree. There are 3 stages that happen before germination, which is the growing of the seed. The first stage is dormancy. Nothing. It's just there. You have planted it, you have put it into the soil in order for it to grow. So let's put into the soil that idea that I have enough, I am enough, therefore I can give from myself freely. So it's in there waiting for the right conditions to appear to get to the next stage, which is the food supply. The food supply in this context and in this case is being spiritually fed. So you come to this center to be spiritually fed. So that is a Freudian slip. And if you don't know, I was a SPED teacher for many, many years. So I use that language every day. So there's something about that, but we'll come back to it on a different day. Spiritually fed, okay? So we come here, we hear these messages of hope, transformation, and things like that. But we're still maybe in that dormancy stage where it's like, I don't see anything happening. I don't see anything happening. But as you continue to come here, that spiritual food is actually percolating or working towards germination within to help with the third stage, which is the breaking down of these old habits, old thoughts, things that are no longer working for you, that are preventing the manifestation of your good. I want you to let that germinate for a minute. Think about that for a minute. It is really kind of easy for us to go from A to Z and really not talk about or think about what is in the middle, because we're expecting the outcome. We've talked about manifestation. If you think about it, or if you believe it, you'll receive it, you'll achieve it. And when you're not seeing it happen, you're like, why? I thought this was supposed to be the fast track. What I'm trying to say to you is there is not really a fast track from the thought. Sometimes things happen right away, but other times they have to go through the process. So what I want you to think about is be okay wherever you are, but continue to have faith and a belief that at some point in time, that mighty oak tree will come forth from you. So if you are in a place where you're feeling like you're buried alive, transform your thinking. I think it goes like this: be ye transformed by the changing of your mind. Think about being buried alive as being planted, as being in a position to grow into and become all that you're intended to become. So, be with me, Beaumont, mighty oaks, thinking about changing everything you're doing. Trust and know that it is happening for you. And as it happens for you, you're being spiritually fed here. So in kind, please spiritually feed this center. So ends your power talk. Whew. Did I spin it good? Thank you. I wasn't really trying to, I don't know if you're supposed to clap for me, but thank you, I'll take it. Alrighty, so let me bring you into a place of contemplation and calm with the support of Al. In this very room is the presence, the power, and the omnipotent being that we call God, we call Buddha, Allah. We call by many different names, but we all know what that spirit is, because each and every one of us, when we are connected, we know that we are from that spirit, that it is within us, that deep in our soul, it is the seed that manifests all that we are, all that we desire, and all that we have come to be. I know for today that this is a magnificent day, because it is the day that Spirit has made, and so we get to rejoice in it. We get to feel and know all the blessings that we already have. And as we are intentional about focusing on that, we draw to ourselves more blessings. Those are the conditions that we talk about as far as making things happen, as far as making things that we desire manifest. So today, allow ourselves to release any barriers that prevent us from being and living up to our highest and best good. Because today, as we are, wherever we are perfect, whole, and complete. This is the truth of our being. There is no other truth. And so as we let that resonate, and as we allow ourselves and the seeds of our souls to be watered, to be fed, then we can know that we are out picturing the lives that we choose to live. We are experiencing good health, prosperity, abundance, and the love that is at the base of all things. And so we are also attracting to ourselves all those things that we desire. I am so grateful to be in this community of like-minded beings, because I know everyone in here is allowing these words to resonate for them and accepting them as their own. And I can tell you that the energy within each and every one of us is rising. And I know that joy is coming up because we believe and know that we can, we will, we do, and that we are enough. And so it is my great pleasure to release these words into law, allow them to continue to go forward, and allow them to turn our seed into the mighty oaks that we are. So please help me anchor these words by saying, and so it is. Amen, amen, ashe, ashe. I would be delighted at this time to bring up Reverend Michael Curcuru.
Thanks for being here today. Thanks for your beautiful work, and I want to thank Chuck, who is flying solo in our tech booth today, and I've thrown some things at him. Add this slide, and take this slide out, and shift this announcement. So Chuck is working on the fly, and I think he's doing a great job, so we can give him a hand. And I want to acknowledge Steve Adams, our practitioner here, who did our meditation this morning and is also holding High Watch in the back. And High Watch is something I like doing at a center, and that's just holding that space of consciousness for everything to flow in a unified manner, for the tech to flow, for the practitioner moment to flow, for Al's music to flow, for our flower ministry to flow. And Tommy said we're on the fly, and so what came to me is a story that I love the story. It's about a fly who gets stuck in the house, and it's like batting itself against your kitchen sink window, right? And it's batting it, and that window's closed. And if we just move over about 18 inches, there's this huge sliding door that's wide open. But the fly won't change its perspective. It's going to keep going. It's going to bat itself against that closed window, where if it would back off a little bit and broaden its perspective, it would see, oh my gosh, there's this doorway to freedom that is 80 times bigger than the path that fly thinks of only as its only path. And so knowing this talk is not just open to the path which I intended, but the path of the intention of spirit, being intense with spirit, not being intense this way, but being in the tense of the present moment with spirit right now. Because it's in the tense of the present moment that spirit speaks to us and in us and as us and through us. So I'm not sure if this is spirit speaking or if this is Michael getting in the way of spirit. I'm not sure we can get in the way of Spirit, because our way and Spirit's way are always one. But this has been going around in my head since 4 this morning. I have to get it out. Sometimes you have to get it out. And you're welcome to do this with me. How many remember from grade school? I'm a little teapot, tall and stout. Do you want to do it? How many? You're welcome to do it with me. I mean, if some of you would stand up, I'd feel a whole lot more comfortable doing it. If you would stand up and do I'm a little teapot with me, and I don't remember the lyrics exactly. We have some teapots here. So I'm a little teapot, tall and stout. Here's my handle and here's my spout. So we've got teapots in the room today. And I just know Spirit's going to connect this, right? This is going to connect. And so there was a Buddhist monk, a master, and he has a new student. And the student comes and says, tell me, master, I want to learn, the mastery of being present, the mastery of being at peace, the mastery of being one with my soul. And the student says, and I've studied this, and I've studied this, and I've studied this, and I have this degree, and I have this degree, and I've been to this school and this school. And the master simply does, I'm a little teapot, I'm a spout. And he holds up a real teapot and a tiny little cup, and he begins pouring. He says, let me pour you a cup of tea, to the student. And he pours that cup of tea, a big pot of tea, into the cup, and the cup flows over and over and over and over. And the student says, you're spilling the tea all over. And the master says, that's our teaching. If your cup is so full that you don't have room for anything else, you're going to miss this wonderful opportunity of this huge welcome mat of Spirit that's always got a door bigger than the door you're thinking of, ready for you to go through. So we've got to empty that teacup to make welcome the way of Spirit. We have to empty our vessel, our physical vessel. We have to empty our mental vessel. And we have to empty the known of the way this talk is scripted, the known of the way this service is outlined, and go with that unknown. And so our opening story is about two scientists who mindfully set the intention. They set the intention of intentionally co-creating God. They're going to co-create God, and they're going to co-create God from the ground upon which they're standing. And so that's their intention, from the very nothingness of the dirt upon which they stand. And so after years of exploration and years of examination and years of extrapolation and taking this dirt and processing it through studies and microscopes and tumblers and all kinds of machines to analyze this dirt and to find Spirit, to make God from this dirt, and they come to co-create God. They actually, from this dirt, come to co-create God, and they see God standing before them. And the God of the co-creation is standing before them. And they come to tell God how they had co-created God. These two guys came together, maybe a guy and a gal, two gals, whatever, came together in co-creating God from nothing but the dirt they stood on. And the nothingness of the dirt upon which they stood, to which God replies, get your own dirt. So we never create without co-creating with Spirit. Spirit's in, as, and through everything. Spirit's in, as, and through that dirt. It's all Spirit's, and it's ours to use and borrow and become one with while we're here on earth. And the moral of this story, if a story needs a moral, and I'm not sure stories do, but is that the ground upon which we stand, the ground upon which we walk, and the ground round and roundedness of the whole complete and perfection of our soul is always the co-creative ground of our Spirit and Holy Spirit as one. No duality, always unity, always as one. That's the co-creative ground of Spirit and Holy Spirit as one. Harmonized forth, and we harmonize this forth by the mindset of our intention and our intentionality. We harmonize forth this unity of our Spirit and Holy Spirit as one by our intention and our intentionality. For the mindset of our intentionality is truly, in a sense, The mindset of intention, intentionality together, what we intend together. Lois intended pink roses. She set that intentionality to Rev Bev. Rev Bev went in alignment with that intentionality and intentionally created according to Lois's intention. So we have intention honored by intentionality, bringing forth this co-creation. Co-creation of spirit working through Rev Bev, co-creation working through Lois, and their communication on this life plane. So our talk title is Miracle Grow for the Soul. And Miracle Grow for the Soul is about knowing that in everything there is a presence and a unity. And sometimes that presence is as simple as a brown bag lunch. And we've talked about that before, that in a brown bag lunch, when we grab it, we don't know what's in that brown bag unless we set the intention of choosing what's in that brown bag lunch. And then if we follow through with the intentionality of choosing it and placing it in the bag, we know through our intention and our intentionality the reality of what's in that brown bag. So the thing about Miracle Grow for the Soul, you have to mindset your intention and call forth the intentionality of knowing it's always for in-ground use. Miracle Grow for the Soul and Miracle Grow is always intended to be used in the ground. And in our spirituality, that's in the groundedness upon the soul, the soil which we walk, which this is the soul of heaven and earth as one. That's spirit's groundedness. We're walking on that. So Miracle Grow, we use it in the ground. The groundedness of the ground we walk on, the groundedness of our soul that we walk through. And we don't use Miracle Grow in the air. And we don't use Miracle Grow in the ocean. And you don't use Miracle Grow upon rocks or gravel or asphalt. And if you do, it doesn't work, and it won't work. And if you use it on the asphalt and the rocks, then the reason it doesn't work is your own asphalt. So setting the tone today, we're setting the tone of ebony and ivory. Let's turn this on. And we're setting the tone of ebony and ivory. What was set by Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney. And they set the tone and the tonation and the tonality and the harmony and the unity and the unification of the ebony and ivory keys on a keyboard. And they set that intention by working together. Remember, the scientists work together, co-creation, and co-creating with spirit to take dirt and create God. Well, Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney, from the mindset of their intention, called forth their intentionality of mindfully co-creating from the miracle grow of their souls. And what they created in ebony and ivory was a perfect harmony. It was a perfect harmony of heaven and earth as one. It was a perfect symphony of all people as one. It was a perfect keyboard chorus of ebony and ivory playing together as one. And these are the lyrics which Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney, through the mindset of their intention, called forth through the honoring of their intentionality, these lyrics. And this is what they co-created together while simultaneously co-creating with spirit. Ebony and ivory, and this is our teaching. This is our teaching. If I had a prayer for today, it would be for these lyrics, the intention of these lyrics, to be intentionally honored through each and of us here today, through the actions we take as we leave here today. So this is my prayer for today, that we honor this intention, the intentionality of our actions. And here are the lyrics. Ebony and ivory, live together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why don't we? We all know that people are the same wherever you go. Ross and I travel. We love traveling. It's one of our joys. And the thing I love about traveling is not just the landmarks and the sights and the tours. It's the people we meet along the way. It's the people we meet along the way. That's such a great joy of travel. And that people are the same wherever you go. And there's good and bad in everyone, in you and me and everyone. We learn to live when we learn to give to each other. When we learn to give to each other what each of us need to thrive. Together alive, ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why don't we? The power of co-creation, the power of our intention, followed by the intentionality of our action to call forth among ourselves, among our spirit, among the groundedness upon which we walk, to call forth that spirit presence that we are. And so, why don't we live side by side in harmony, like ebony and ivory on a piano keyboard? Why don't we? And Chuck, if you could advance the next slide. Why don't we live in harmony? Why don't we? Dr. Ken Gordon, who was our spiritual director of all of CSL for many years and has retired recently, but was our spiritual director for many, many years of all of CSL, and he said this week, in light of all that's going on in this world, he said, it takes a tremendous amount of emotional and spiritual maturity to witness in full force the collective shadow of humanity. And in the full force of the recognition of that collective shadow of humanity, to keep our hearts open. I had a lot of friends this week, and on ministers' listserv, people who were tending to close their hearts rather than expand their hearts, who are choosing to close their minds rather than opening their minds. And we're choosing to come from a mindset not of intentionality, but from the inclemency of the conditions of this world. They were looking at the conditions of this world and believing that was the way it always would be, rather than seeing beyond the conditions into that ebony and ivory harmony in which all things come together for the good. I like to share this at times when it feels as if our collective heart might be breaking. Now, I was out of sync this week because I didn't feel that. I felt at peace, I felt at joy, I felt at rest. I felt good about the way I was experiencing the world. And it had nothing to do with the way the world experiences were showing up. It had everything to do the way I was showing up. And I think the word that came to mind for me the last couple weeks is the word acceptance. And when I can accept those feelings that your heart is breaking and the sadness and the aloneness, and that's all part of our life experience, that's part of it. But when I accept that when my heart is breaking, it's truly breaking wide open. That's science of mind. That's science of mind. That's the perspective I experienced this week. And I talked to my prayer partner yesterday, and I said, Rick, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm out of sync with the minister's prayer list. And we've got ministers who've been ministers for some of them 60, 70 years, God knows. And all of this experience, and there was so much coming from the brokenheartedness, not the open-heartedness, coming from the conditions, the shadow of the conditions, rather than the light of the consciousness. And Rick and I were speaking, he said, I'm with you. I'm feeling the same thing. So it's okay to be where you are and feel what you are. But remember, and I remembered, and I'm remembering to remember, and I'm remembering who I am, and the remembering of who I am, I'm remembering the power of this teaching, and the power of this teaching in the present of this moment, not in the past of yesterday, and not in the future of what I want tomorrow, but in the present of this moment is where the power of intentionality to be and become the divine reality and love on earth exists. The power of our intention and intentionality exists in the absolute present moment of right here and now. Not here and after, not what was, not what is, but what is right here and now. And so setting the intention is where the power lives. And when you know that power lives within you, and you get to direct it through your intention, and then follow it up with the intentionality of your action, you will witness changes in your life. You will show up exactly where you're supposed to be. I've been witnessing ease and grace and flow in my life the last 30 days. Things are just opening up. And I'm not forcing them, and I'm not demanding them. I'm accepting them the way they are, and in the acceptance of the way things are, there's this remarkable, I don't like this word, but there's this remarkable isness of the business of life. And that isness of the business of life is knowing the power of our intention, followed by the activity of our intentionality in the present moment. And so our next slide, and if Chuck, if you'll advance that, is about setting the intention. I love this slide. I mean, I could end the talk just looking at this slide. It's just so charming. And so how many of you have heard the story about a priest, a minister, and a rabbit who walk into a bar? How many people have heard it? Ross had heard it, so I don't like redoing stories. So a priest, a minister, and a rabbit walk into a bar. And remember the title here, it's setting the intention. And so a priest, a minister, and a rabbi walk into a bar. And the bartender asks the priest, "What will you have?" And the priest responds, "A glass of your finest wine." So the bartender asks the minister, "What will you have?" And the minister responds, "I'll have a glass of your finest on-tap beer." And he turns to the rabbit and says, "Mr. Rabbit, what will you have?" "I don't know," says the rabbit. "I'm only here because of autocorrect." Now, if you don't get the gist of that joke, in the present of this moment, you will get the gist of this joke in the exact Miracle Grow moment. You set the intention and honor the intentionality of getting it. Because the intention we set is the intention we get. The intention we set is the intention we get. That's our teaching. And so can we go to the next slide? Today's affirmation. And I'll say it first, and then I invite us to say it together. Today's affirmation. The intention I mindfully set is earthly what I worldly get. So I invite you to say that with me now. The intention I mindfully set is earthly what I worldly get. So in a sense, ask and you shall receive. Yeah? You got to ask to receive. Now, I love poetry. And I think we'll do a poetry reading class here, because I just love poetry. And Oliver Wendell Berry shares in his poem, The Wild Rose. Don't you love the title, The Wild Rose? And he shares of the sentiment and the sentimentality of the universal reality that what we intentionally set in our mind becomes as one with the mindset of Holy Spirit, the mindset of miracle grow for the soul. Yes, what we set in our mind sets Spirit's mind in alignment with our mind. There's no spirit mind in our mind. There's one mind, and that all comes about through the mindset of the miracle grow for the soul, the mindset of our intention, followed by the action of our intentionality, in which we come as one. We're empowered. We're empowered to turn dirt into God. And then God reminds us that God's in the dirt. You didn't do it on your own. You didn't do it on your own. You did it with my help. I gave you a little boost in creating the dirt. And so sometimes, he says, Oliver Wendell Berry says this in The Wild Rose, sometimes you keep hidden from me in daily custom and in trust. And what he's talking about here, we trust in our daily custom, we trust in the modane, we trust in the comfortability of our armchair consciousness. We don't want to get out of the armchair. So what he's saying here is, in daily custom and in trust, don't put too much trust in the daily custom of the ways of the world. And he says, sometimes hidden from me in daily custom and trust, so that I live by you unaware. I'm so caught up in the routine of my world that I'm unaware of the wonder of the world beyond. And he said, I'm so that I live by you unaware of you, as by the beating of my heart. I'm not even aware of the beating of my heart every day, the preciousness of the beating of this physical heart. Not to mention the spiritual heart, just a shift here, right? Not mind, heart, 18 inches, but just physical heart, spiritual heart, centered heart. You know, I don't even hear the beating of my physical heart because I'm too darn busy to stop and listen to it and be appreciative of it. And if I'm too busy to be appreciative of my physical heart and my physical vessel of my body, which we want to keep open and empty like that teacup, I'm never going to feel into the presence of the open heart of my spiritual heart. And then, Barry says, suddenly you flare up in my heart, you flare up in my sight, you flare up in my world. And you flare up as a wild rose, blooming at the edge of thicket, grace, and light. Where yesterday there was only shade. Yes, there was only shade here yesterday in the dirt those gentlemen studied and excavated to turn into God. There was only shade, you know. Sometimes there's only the shade of the shadow, the shade of the shadow of an event we've gone through. And what is ours to do is to realize that yesterday's shade can become today's grace and light. So in Miracle Grow for the Soul, lives in the thicker grace and light. Miracle Grow for the Soul lives in the thicker grace and light of knowing yesterday's shade gives way to this beautiful morning's grace and light. Gives way to a new day's grace and light. So how many remember this Broadway tune? With a few intentional changes of lyrics, it brings us into a new intentionality of being in tune with the infinite. So, oh, what a miraculous morning. Oh, what a miraculous day. Oh, what a miraculous morning. With the mindset of my intention, everything is intentionally flowing my way. How many remember this childhood sing-along song, which with a few intentional changes of words puts us intentionally in the knowing it's easier to ride the stream in the direction it's going. Flow, flow, flow your boat gently down the stream. Miracles, 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 miracles. Life is but a dream. Through a few choices in the shift of our mindset, we shift the energy of our consciousness into the infinite, into the tune of the infinite, into the harmony of heaven on earth, into the music, into the keyboard of ebony and ivory playing together as one. And so our next story is about the intentionality of setting, of going with the flow of a dream, which intentionally brings about the knowing of a long-awaited dream come true. When you set your intention on a dream come true and take intentional action, it brings about the knowing of a long-awaited dream come true. Pastor and his wife, been in the ministry business, and if it's a business, it's a business or whatever it is, an avocation, it just is. It just is. And they've been 10 years, and they've done okay. They've been at small parishes, but, you know, the minister also thought he'd have this huge, thriving community. You know, Joel Osteen, you know, 15,000 people in person every Sunday, and 1 million watching online. And it didn't unfold that way until about 10 years, and this pastor is noticed, and he's really promoted up through the ranks to this beautiful center, in the right zip code, driving the right car, beautiful houses provided as part of it, and he's finally made it. He sees the intention he set becoming the intentionality, the action he took as manifesting in his dream come true, everything he ever wanted. And he says, honey, did you ever in your wildest dreams think we'd be living this good a life? And she says, dear husband, you have never, not once, been in any of my wildest dreams. Now, science of mind is not about living in the wildest of our dreams. Science of mind is about living in the miracle mindset of our intentions. Science of mind is not about living in the wildest of our dreams. It's about living in the miracle mindset of our intentions. Science of mind is about knowing. Our jails are not made of metal bars, but rather our jailers are of the mental mindsets we hold, the mental mindsets we mold through our intentions and our intentionalities. because they can either hold us back from the knowing of the ebony and ivory of heaven and earth as one, or they can set us free in the knowing of who and whose we are by the remembering of what we came here to do and be. And if we can have the next slide, Chuck. Henry Miller says this, and this is what we're talking about today. The heaven and earth that's in the dirt, the heaven and earth that's that's everywhere present. Even the heaven and earth, even the Spirit is one in the autocorrect. And I don't know if you guys do much writing, but autocorrect can just drive you nuts. It can just turn rabbis into rabbits. So but Spirit's in that. And the part of the message of that story of the rabbit that was really a rabbi is that we're always right where we're supposed to be. We're not here by autocorrect. And you are not here today by auto-connect. Auto-connecting with something on your calendar. We're here by the power of choice. We're here by the mindset of our intention to be here, followed by the action of our intentionality to get up, get dressed, get a mode of transportation, and show up here today. We're not here by auto-connect. We're not here because of autopilot. We're here because of our intentional choice, honored by the intentionality of our actions to be present here today. There's not one of us who isn't here by the power of our choice in the moment, by the mindset of the intention we made to be here, followed by the action of intentionality that brought us here. And Henry Miller says, if you have not found heaven within, it is a certainty we will not find it without. If we have not found heaven within, it is a certainty we will not find heaven without. Because in science of mind, heaven is not a place we go in the sky when we die. Heaven is a state of consciousness that we call forth through the mindset of our intentions and the action of our intentionality to create that reality of heaven and earth as one in me, ebony, ivory as one with my harmony, my symphony, my keyboard of life, right? So Chuck, can we have the next slide? Talking about music and harmony and ebony and ivory and lyrics and the Beatles, the music of our soul. And so it said, our talk theme, the earth has music for those who listen to the silence of their souls. I was hearing the silence of my soul while Tommy was doing her power talk, and I was focusing on these flowers. And they took me into the silence of my soul. And I was thinking how breathtaking they were. And then I changed my mindset of intention, and I thought, no, they are not breathtaking. They are breath-making. They are the breath-making of the mindset of my intention to activate the intentionality of being aware that they are not breathtaking, they are breath-take-in. They are breath-take-in. That's the awe of nature. That's the awe of our beauty. That's the awe of our natural, inherent beauty within, our heaven within, as one with heaven without. Terra firma, terra celestial, connected as one. Spirit everywhere presence. We hear it in the silence. And it took me to the silence not of breathtaking, but the silence of breath-take-in. Breath take in that silence. Breath take in that beauty. Breath take in that presence of power, of science, of mind. Breath take in the power of our intention in the present moment to bring about the intentionality of a chosen activity that brings us to the awareness of who and whose we are and what we came here to do and be and see. Miracle Grow for the soul. It's often found in the silence of our soul. There's a story of a monk who goes to a silent retreat, to a monastery, because he wants to find his heaven within. He wants to find his heaven within, so he goes to a silent retreat. And he's allowed to speak 2 words every 5 years. And the Monsignor calls him in at the end of year 5 and says, you have 2 words. What would you like to say about your 5 years at the monastery? And this has been told before and told again, but it's just so apropos to us taking time for ourselves. And his 2 words are dead hard. 5 years go by, and the Monsignor calls the monk, and there's 10 years in, you have 2 words. And he said, what are your 2 words? And the monk goes, food cold. 15 years go by, and the Monsignor calls the monk in and says, what are your 2 words? And the monk goes, I quit. And the Monsignor says, good thing, you've done nothing but complain since you've been here. So in the past week, what was your mindset? Was the intention of your mindset on gratitude? Was the intention of your mindset on giving forth what others needed from your bounty and blessing of the emptiness of your soul, in which you found the fullness of the soul of spirit as yours, in which within you you found the bounty of the blessing of good tidings? You found the beauty and the bounty of the blessing of good tides. What is it about the ocean tides? They always come in, they always go out. But right, they're ever present. That's the ebb and flow of spirit. That's the ebb and flow of our life. That's the ebb and flow of the divinity within our humanity. Ebbing in, ebbing out, ebbing in, ebbing out, but ever present. That ocean never goes away. That ocean within us never goes away. It rises, it falls, it comes in, it comes out, and what is ours to do is to be in alignment with that ocean of consciousness. So I invite us, if we can go to the next slide, Chuck, to say together our affirmation one more time. And we'll say it together. It's on the slide. The intention I mindfully set is earthly what I worldly get. Ernest Holmes shares this about our imagination. Imagination is not fanciful daydreaming. It's fire from heaven. It's fire from heaven, and it's fire from heaven within. If we go to the next slide, Rumi shares this about the miracle grow of our soul. The miracle grow of our soul, that is the passion fire of our intention, fueled by the intentionality of our life's purpose. We'll do that again. The miracle grow of our soul is the passion fire of our intention, fueled by the intentionality of our life's purpose. And Rumi was a mystic of great high order, and he said this of the passion fire of our intention, fueled by the intentionality of our life's purpose. Set your life on fire. Set it on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. Remember my dad had the big, thing to get the fire going in Connecticut? You'd start a little thing. What is it called? Who knows? What is it? Bellows. There we go. The bellows. To spark it. And you created that. Well, our soul is like a bellows. It's like a bellows. It's like an accordion. Are we going to expand it through the mindset of our intention? Or are we not going to use that bellows? Are we not going to spark that flame in our soul into the flame in our heart, into the light in the world? So our soul is like a bellows. You got to pick it up. You got to set the intention of picking up that bellows. Then you got to follow through the action of intentionality of giving that some energy, giving that some focus. And it's amazing the fire that you create. What we're talking about today is the gift to be simple and the gift to be free. It's the gift to come down where we choose to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the place of love and delight. And sometimes that place of coming to know ourselves better is the light of love we find in the silence within our soul. Sometimes that flame of passion, that flame of light, that bellows expanding, that power of that present moment that we choose to our intention and intentionality, we find the love and the light and the silence within our souls. And the Dalai Lama shares this of a story of the flame of a monk's love within. A monk captured and held in China for years and years when he was 40 or 50. He's now 92. They've held him all this time, and they finally release him at 92. And over those many decades, the Dalai Lama says you must have been tortured, and you must have known great fear, and you must have known great starvation, and you must have known much in cruelty and many beatings. And the monk says, actually, yes, I was daily under threat. And the threat I was under of losing my compassion for my captors. And thereby, if I were to lose my compassion for myself, by losing my compassion for my captors, I would not be aware that there is no other. My captors and I are one. And he said, in the emptiness of the silence of that cell, I came to find the emptiness of the silence of my soul. And I was filled up with a new appreciation and a new awareness and a new awakening and a new aliveness of the Spirit and the heaven within my soul and what was mine to do. And all that time of captivity was to mindfully choose my intention and to follow through my mindful intention with the intentionality of my action to be the love and the light that I came here to be. We can have the next slide, Chuck. Henry Miller says this: the one thing we can never get enough of, and the one thing we never give enough of, is love. Dylan Thomas shares this about the light of love in our soul, which is in truth the miracle grow for all of our souls. This, from Dylan Thomas, is what the miracle grow for all our souls is about. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at the close of day. Rage and rage and rage against the dying of the light. That light of love. And we can do the next slide. Martin Luther King shares this of the dark and the light. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So today, in our time together, we've shared about the light of love as being the miracle grow not only for our individual souls, but for our collective souls. All souls living together in harmony, like ebony and ivory, living together in perfect harmony. The perfect harmony of the love and the light and the essence of our soul within, as one with the love and the light and the essence of heaven without. It's a perfect harmony that we bring about by the mindset of our intention and by the intentionality of our being the reality of the light of love in this world. The mindset of our intention, honored by the intentionality of our actions, brings about the light of love we find in the silence of our soul. And as we bring it forth, it comes to quiet the noise of a noisy world. And if we can have the next slide, Chuck. And so I invite us to use today's affirmation, to say it one more time together, and use it to set the mindset of our intention to bring forth the intentionality of our action, to create on earth exactly the way we choose earth to be, which depends on the way we see the earth and the heaven within us to be. For what we see within, we create without. And so together, let's do this one more time, setting our mindset of intention. The intention I mindfully set is earthly what I worldly get. Be well, stay conscious, namaste. We at CSLB love you. And if you haven't told yourself today that you love you, why, for heaven's sake, haven't you set the mindset of telling yourself you love you and following through with the intentionality of action of doing something loving for yourself? So ends our talk. Thank you. And so now, let's bring this into prayer. Let's bring it into prayer with the ebony and the ivory, yeah? Bring it into prayer with the ebony and the ivory. The harmony, the symphony, sound of music. And so listening into that music, the sound that I'm listening to, I'm hearing it in a new way. I'm hearing it from the silence within my soul. And as I listen to that in the silence of my soul, I hear this beautiful melody of miracles. I'm hearing the music, and I'm hearing it in the silence of my soul. And in the silence of my soul, I'm hearing forth this melody of miracles. This melody of miracles, of the power of the present moment. The miracle of the power of the present moment, the miracle of the mindset of my intention, and the miracle of the mindset of the intentionality of my action, all bringing forth that unification of ebony and ivory in a beautiful melody, bringing together all people as one in a beautiful unity, bringing together the dark and the light and the love in one, love and light and truth. That where there may be a collective shadow today, there's a consciousness of light and illumination tomorrow. Scripture says, all things shall pass. It does not say, all things have come to stay. Know with me this day that the coming to pass of ebony and ivory, the coming to pass of all people as one, the coming to pass of heaven with one as heaven without, the coming to pass of the intention aligned in harmony with the intentional reality of our actions will bring forth today, right here and right now, a new way, a new world, a new way of being. A way of being in which a world that works for everyone, with no one left behind, is the world we come to see and to be and to become. And together I invite us to say, and so it is.
Some days we forget to look around us. Some days we can't see the joy that surrounds us. So caught up inside ourselves, we take when we should give. But for tonight, we pray for what we know can be, and on this day, we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change, and even though we all can still do more, so much to be thankful for. Look beyond ourselves, there's so much sorrow. It's way too late to say, I'll cry tomorrow. Each of us must find our truth. It's so long overdue. So for tonight we pray for what we know can be, and every day we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change, and even though we all can still do more, there's so much to be thankful for. differences, there is a place we're all connected. Each of us can find each other's light. So for tonight we pray for what we know can be, and on this day we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change. And even though this world needs so much more, there's so much to be thankful for.
There's so much to be thankful for at this center. As a community member, I never realized what it took behind the scenes to make a Sunday service come about. I didn't know about the tech, and I didn't know about the computers, and I didn't know about the software, and I didn't know about the accounting software, and I didn't know about teams of board members and teams of membership members and teams of event teams coming together to create all of this in harmony, to do their best to work in harmony, to make the schedule work in harmony, to make the events support the spiritual life and the spiritual energy of our teaching. And I see that now. I see that now. I see all of that. And the music, and Al's bringing ebony and ivory together in a phenomenal harmony. Chuck stepping into tech, solo, flying pretty good solo. Our flower ministry that wasn't here a year ago. Our flower ministry, Rev Bev, yeah. Our practitioners, Tommy and Steve, so much to be thankful for at this center. It's a beautiful community. It's a miraculous community, and we keep the miracle going of our tithing. So if we can read our tithing statement together right now. We don't have the tithing statement? So let's do this. Let's create our own tithing statement. So today at CSLB, if you're watching online, if you're here in person, we invite you to open your heart and touch into the bounty of your soul and move beyond any predisposition of what tithing is about, and feel that tithing from the openness of your heart. Tithe your love right now. Tithe your presence. Tithe your time to this center. And bless this center with your financial tithe. Mary Morrissey said, a tithe should be more than a gesture and less than a sacrifice. So if you've been giving a gesture of a tithe, we invite you to push a little beyond the gesture, and we're not asking no one to sacrifice, but we're inviting you to help the good work of this center now continue and expand beyond our walls. So if the ushers will come forward and take our offering, offer from that openness of your heart, and that gentleness of your soul, and that bounty of your soul. And know as with that, I'm a teapot, here's my handle, and here's my spout. As you pour forth your financial gifts to this center, they will flow abundantly into your life according to your willingness to receive greater abundance. And together I invite us to say, and so it is.
Thank you for giving. Thank you for receiving. And thank you for being who you are. Thank you for breathing. Thank you for believing, and thank you for being who you are. The universe is flowing with love that's ever growing. and you are a vessel of that love. So thank you for caring, and bless you for your sharing, and thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being who you are. Who you are. Thank you. Thank you.
End our service, if you're new to service, by circling up. So we circle the sanctuary, we hold hands. If you want to remain seated and join us in consciousness, that's fine too. Do whatever you're comfortable with. But we are going to join up, circle the sanctuary in the presence of our love, that light of our love. We're going to set the intention to circle up, and we're going to follow through with the actuality and the action of our intentionality to physically form in a circle. And here we are. And Al's going to lead us in one people
living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One more time. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. We are all one family. We are all one family. We are all one.
knowing something wonderful happened here at CSLB today, and that something wonderful is the power of the present moment, where we set our intention and follow it through with the intentionality of our action to create a loving community and a world that works for everyone, with no one left behind. And together we say, and so it is. We're all connected. One of our beloved community members, Julia Harris, made her transition this week. And there's her slide. Many of you knew Julia. I knew her through many of the groups here. We had many wonderful conversations. And I spoke to her this past week, a few days before she made her transition. And she said she was at peace. She said she was comfortable. And she said she wanted the... This one really caught me by surprise. And she said she wanted to know the community, to know how much you were appreciated and you were loved, and how much a part of her life you were. There it is.